The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
WVTC, reaching the world with positivity. Music to get you through your day. Winning victory through Christ is the only way.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Most of it's usually down payment, credit. Those are the main two things.
$75,000 SUVs. I have no idea what.
Support, man. So look, Brian Sewell here, the Mortgage Doctor, with you, coming back today, Thursdays from 4 to 5, and I got my friend Krista Williams here with us.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, we got a couple of special announcements to make today. Glad to have Krista on. Krista, why don't you give people a background about who you are? No, before I do that, oh God, I forgot the purpose of the show. The purpose of the show is the 3 E's, right? We want to help everyone accomplish the American dream of home ownership, and that's with education, encouragement, and empowerment. We educate you on what's going on. We're going to do a lot of education today about these taxes, guys. Look, if you live in Cook County, you need to share this show. Jump in on the show. We're going to wait a few minutes before we make this announcement, but you really, really need to share the show with what some of our wonderful politicians have done, and I mean wonderful in a different way, as far as raising taxes in these counties and what's going to be happening. And we want to help you. We want to give you the information, but we want to be able to give you some solutions to it. So we're going to educate you, let you know what's going on. We're going to encourage you so you don't go hide and and put your head on the pillow. And we're going to empower you to make better decisions and give you alternatives. So I have the pleasure of having Krista Williams with me. Krista, give a background on who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I am Krista Williams. I am a licensed real estate broker with At Properties. I am an agent in both Illinois and Indiana. I'm also a notary public, and here recently I just attained my mortgage loan officer license.
Yeah.
And
why you give that announcement already? We don't give it till later.
Later.
Scratch that part. Right.
But I've been doing real estate essentially for about going into 7 years now, and it kind of started off with a bad experience. We dealt with a real estate agent in terms of selling my grandmother's home when she passed. And things just kind of got a little murky from there. Had another experience with my husband and I purchasing our first home, and that didn't quite go well. So I went and took the class for myself, wanted some additional information, some insight just to see how this actually works. And in getting the education, I realized that a lot of people do not know the things that I was learning. When it came to property, real estate, taxes, the things that we'll essentially be discussing today, a lot of people were just really kind of disparaged in not having this information. So right. I went and got the insight, got licensed, not really planning to help people sell or buy anything. It was really just for my family, for my friends, just kind of to help people with the insight. And then it just kind of blew up overnight. So here I am, a full-time real estate agent and broker, and this is what I do around the clock, again, in terms of educating and empowering my clients.
Okay, well, since you spilled the bags out, and again, I know we're on a Christian radio station, but everybody know I like to do bad impersonations. Like my Samuel L. Jackson going, well, if you already knew the answer to the question, since you already showed the tape, why don't you tell people what you recently accomplished?
Sure. So I just recently attained my mortgage loan officer license. So I am now a lender able to originate loans in the state of Illinois. Indiana is pending as we speak.
Should be done a little bit, but you're not just a lender. Who do you work with?
Well, yes, I was getting there.
Yeah,
And so I have decided to join Guild Mortgage under the tutelage of Mr. Brian Sewell.
Welcome to the
So
team.
thank you very much. Glad to be a part. So this is now my new manager and, of course, my essential mentor, if you will.
She's gonna do some great things. What I love about Crystal is that she comes from an educational standpoint. You were referred to me by a good friend Chaston, and the connection I know we have there is family.
Mhm.
And when I sat down with you, I was like, yep, she's definitely got that. And so, well, I truly believe in coming from giving value. And as I coach and I help people, it's like, how do we add value to every situation, whether it's a consumer, whether it's a client, whether it's a realtor, a builder, whatever. How do we make your life better? We're in such a stage now that I was talking to one of my clients that we coach. Literally about 20, 30 minutes ago. And he was saying he's in a good state sometimes in a bad state. And the mindset of what we're dealing with in real estate, and I've been in it for 22 and a half years, this is probably one of the most challenging markets that we've ever seen. And like whether it's up or down, it's just literally a different type of market. So mindset wise, we have to find a way to encourage ourselves, but also give encouragement to other people. So I'm glad to have you on. I think you're very positive. I think you come from a Christian background, which I love. And I think, to me, being a Christian or a realtor or lender, if you're Christian, one of those, or Christian in general, it just means you're doing the right thing when no one's looking.
That's right.
Doesn't make you perfect. You do the right thing when no one's looking.
That's it.
So I got some good friends on there. I see Nick Baffis on there, Billy. So look, I should probably put my glasses on. So while you're talking, Crystal, just want you to entertain a little bit since I have to log into my Facebook under our normal system, so I can't see everything. So I'm going to put my glasses on. You laughing at my little Gucci glasses? I got the insurance paid for it a long time ago. Okay.
No problem. I should probably have some on myself.
Yeah. So I need to dive in and be able to see some of that stuff that we have there. So anyway, Denise, it's so great to see you. We need to catch up. Billy and Nick, appreciate you. Scott, appreciate you for joining in. Okay. So share this show. We're going to talk about what's going on in Cook County, and I am going to go into some of the lending things. I got some solutions I got some products I want to talk to you about, some things you may or may not know about, but what we're all about is coming up with a problem, how we fix the solution. So what really struck me, and I've known about this a little bit from different attorneys that told me this, is that in certain parts of Cook County, the taxes are going to be going up, and we're going to show you how to calculate that. I really feel for the seniors.
Yes.
They're on fixed income, in a situation where they may not be able to afford their monthly payment because these taxes are going up. And I'm going to say this, guys, okay? And I'm going to let Crystal talk, but I always like to, kind of push people on edge first. Look, I'm independent, guys. But honestly, I need you guys to stop voting these crazy people in office. I really do. Don't accept handouts. And I mean, for people that need to be in systems, Crystal, you probably know what's going on, it's fine. But when people give you something, they expect something back, right? So you become dependent. And then what you end up doing, you're going to end up suffering. You want situations where it allows you to grow and there is no limits on you. So a lot of these politicians, and I call them out, they don't look out for your best interest. They just want you dependent on systems and they have control of you. It's another form of slavery. And so you really need to watch who you vote for and who you put in office, because it's putting you in a really tough situation. And I'm the least political person here. But when I see what's going on right now, I was like, that easy to eliminate it if somebody would have just said no and they stood and fought for their consumers. So let's talk about what's going on in Cook County. I had to get that out. I'm gonna come back to it probably. I don't like to get controversial, but I just don't like that scene. Like my mom is a senior that's on a fixed income. She stays in Cook County, same house I grew up in. And I don't think she knows about what could potentially happen to her taxes. So
Sure.
I want you just to hit it off and Crystal, lead us.
Of course. So this actually started with a little bit of research. I was working with some clients of mine, and of course, assuming the lender and the realtor role, what ended up taking place is that they were looking at purchasing a home in Lansing, Illinois. And this home had taxes listed by the agent in the MLS. And the taxes were right at about $4,500 per year, according to the agent. And of course, in my purview and knowing how this goes, the taxes in Lansing were not just $4,500. And so sure enough, as we began to have that conversation with Brian and the clients, we found that the taxes that had been assessed to that home were actually right at about $8,500 for the whole year. And so the clients were still fine to move forward with that number, but something didn't quite sit well with me because I knew that there was essentially a reassessment that was taking place in Cook County. And so sure enough, I started crunching numbers, went on the assessor's website to see exactly what they were now assessing the new fair value market of this property as. And before, the property was worth $164,000 according to the county. And then when they did the reassessment, they said that the property was now worth $250,000. And so, of course, as your property value goes up, that means that your taxes are going to go up. And so with the reassessment that just recently happened, we did the calculations. I actually called another attorney just to verify that what I was thinking was correct. And sure enough, after we came up with the numbers, the taxes for that home being reassessed jumped up to $16,247.
Listen to me. Hey, say that number again.
$16,247.
So you went for a situation where the system had listed 45. Okay. We knew that wasn't correct. Came back, we said about 8. But in certain parts, now they're saying that this is going to be 16,000. So I guess my question is, and I know I had a couple of attorneys do this for. So what parts of Cook County is this really affecting?
So in 2022, they actually started with the north suburbs. And last year in 2023, they decided to start doing the northwestern and the south suburbs. So these numbers will start coming out more than likely next year, where we'll really see the increase in the new tax bills.
Right. So you got a situation. I mean, consumers, people that want to buy right now, you can figure it out, right? We can go over this stuff, right? Like you did with your client.
Right.
But what strikes me more is for seniors that's worked all their lives. They got all this equity. And now they might be in a situation they can't afford to make the payment.
Yes.
Or they can't afford because the taxes went from $4,500 to $16,000. Right. That's not going to be every situation. Obviously, property value goes up. You guys hear me talk about one of the reasons to buy real estate is for values to go up, and I do believe in that. But I'm just going to talk about this for a second. But our crooked state of Illinois, right? And I live here and I got a lot of family. Look, seriously, it's ridiculous, guys. You guys seriously need to fire every politician in there and go with something different. And I'm going to tell you again, I'm independent. You know, I believe what Browner was doing was the right thing to do. People say, oh, don't run it like a business. Yes, run it like a business. Let me ask you something, Crystal. And Crystal doesn't, we didn't rehearse this. Like if something comes your way in life and financially, something changed and you have some debts and stuff. Does the government give you a handout or do you have to come up with a budget and a better solution?
You definitely have to figure it out on your own.
Right.
The budget is not, the government is not giving anything additional.
So why can't our government, our Illinois, get on a budget and stop borrowing from pensions, stop borrowing from Social Security, stop doing all these things and actually get on a budget and cut things. Cut your everyday costs, cut your income for life. Seriously. I mean, I'm just cut, like literally cut. Some people that are taking advantage of the program, like I told you, there are some people I talk to that are married couples, right? They use different last names and one of them gets Section 8 and the other one's making $100,000 a year. So cut that nonsense out. Like do more research, put people in place and so we can cut this. I know it's always coming up. We're all paying for that. And now you're all paying for it from a tax standpoint.
So you're gonna pull a side of me out that I wasn't.
Pull it out. Come on, let's go.
Intending on using
well, no,
today.
I guess like I don't. Again, people think that sometimes. Oh, he's like, no, I'm not a sellout. What I truly believe in. Listen, you know, the good book said, "A man don't work, don't eat." But that being said, you got a situation where you have a state and government that is taking advantage of you and taking advantage of seniors, right? And that's why you have a lot of people leaving Illinois. And you're in Indiana. So that's one solution, right?
Yeah.
Look, we do laws in Illinois. We love helping people, but we also got to be properly prepared. That's why we do a lot of business in Will County too. People are starting to leave. Not saying their taxes are lower, but they're like this, what they're doing right now to Cook County, you're not getting away with that in other counties. You have people fight and they're protest. You have everybody out there shotgun saying, oh, no, you're not. So I'm not telling you to go get it. I'm not promoting violence and stuff like that, but I'm just saying that it has to come a time that we stop the nonsense. And then we what happens is we like, no, we're going to vote for this person because our pastor told us to. Well, I'm really going there now. I know. They come there on Sundays. They never come back the whole year, right? We're going to vote for this person, but then they never do nothing, right? And then when he comes back, oh, this is affecting me. You want to complain. Stop putting people in office that don't give 2 cents about you. Go ahead. Sorry, that's all I have to say. I get passionate about this. I got some solution, guys. Look, you guys know I'm a Christian first, and I'm a Democrat or Republican. I just think that at the end of the day, I don't like seeing, like, I think we're going to see, what do you think? I give my opinion. It's going to be the result of this, specifically to seniors.
So specifically to seniors, they do have the ability to take advantage of the senior exemption
Okay.
and the senior freeze. That being calculated, we still do not know yet how that's going to impact them in terms of being able to come up to certain numbers, or whether that freeze will cause them to be right where they are. So there could be an advantage to seniors where they may not be.
Oh, so the
majorly
seniors may not
impacted.
be as impacted.
Yes, they
Okay.
may not be as impacted.
I'm gonna bring this a little closer because they're asking questions and I can't see it. So hold on. How do we see if we can get you in there? Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. All right. I still can't see it. Get it out. Oh, Billy, you get them okay? A lot of moving to Texas and Arizona. Yeah, we're licensed in Arizona too, and Indiana too. All right. So no, go ahead.
So it may not impact the seniors as much if they're able to take advantage of the senior freeze and the exemptions that they have. My concern, of course, is for those who essentially have these properties, some of the newer homeowners.
New construction, yep.
Yeah, new construction, those who recently purchased a home in the past few years. Because the thing is, none of us were essentially expecting the reassessment. Even though it says on the Cook County website that taxes are reassessed every 3 years, that's not something that's always publicized or put in the news, or, we don't always get that information up front to be able to share that. So, of course.
But we calculate those taxes. We use smart property tax. We do all that stuff. And so, again, we're already priced too high as it is.
Yes.
There should be a flat tax. Don't get me on my soap
Yes.
opera, right? Like everybody should pay about $5,000. That's about it. And those that only paying $2,000, sorry. But I'm just saying that there should be a flat tax and tell Uncle Sam to come in budget with what they have left over.
I agree.
I mean,
agree with that.
But you're right. I mean, but so you're saying, like in this example of the 16,000, right?
Yeah.
Let's say there was a senior living there the whole time. So you're telling me they wouldn't have paid 16?
No.
What would they have paid?
Well, the exemption would have to be calculated.
So I mean, rough amount. You get a couple $1,000s for senior exemption.
Yeah, a few.
So maybe they paid 14, 13.
So more so 13, 12.
13, 12, right? But it still go from
It's
8 to
still-
12. You're on a fixed income.
Yes.
That ain't right.
It's not.
Where's that money going?
And that's why I say you're going to pull a side of me out that I wasn't intending on utilizing.
Use it. Come on, you need to preach.
So I have a master's degree in public administration.
Okay, come on, tell them now. You got all right. Hopefully, I ain't say nothing wrong yet.
No,
I'm trying to get us both in there.
But in my studies, my concentration was dual concentration.
Mhm.
I did a concentration in financial management and nonprofit management.
Okay.
And I took a capital course. It was a course essentially talking about
Hold on, just so you know, I have somebody smarter in the room than me. Just so I'm just gonna stop talking.
No, not at all. But this course essentially was highlighting the issues of the state of Illinois, particularly Cook County, and the taxes that they were receiving and what they were doing with the money. One of the budgets was, of course, to be for capital improvements. And after looking at the budgets and figuring out the numbers, I was looking at the spreadsheets and figuring out exactly where is this money going, and it was not going for the capital improvements.
Of course
it was
wasn't.
being mismanaged. The funds, of course, going for something that it should not have been going for. And so now every time I drive across a bridge in Chicago, it's like, oh, this is not being fixed because the money was not there for that. So essentially, these taxes, it's really questionable as to what it's going for. It's supposed to be for municipal services, supposed to be for school districts. But if you see where the higher tax rates are, you have a lot of questions and wondering why exactly your taxes so high. What are you paying for? It really brings about a number of questions. So going back, my concern is really for the homeowners, those who purchased here recently.
So they'll be getting an unexpected bill.
Exactly. They'll be getting. Honestly, everyone who is a homeowner will be getting an unexpected bill. They're not going to know essentially what the payment is going to be until, again, it's calculated.
So it's a full year, yeah.
Yep.
And they can protest this, right? I mean, like, we call it tax, tax
appeal.
Appeal, yeah.
So yes, they can appeal. They can go to the county assessor and say, hey, you have my house assessed too high. They can try to figure out if they can get a lower tax rate, a lower tax amount. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. And in times past, I've actually just kind of warned my clients about this, because if you go and ask for an appeal, in times past, if the reassessment hadn't been done and they figured that your property value was higher than what you were trying to appeal, then that meant that you could pay more in taxes.
Right. Well, we want it to be higher when we're doing the appraisal,
Right.
but
not when you paying for
not,
it.
not with the
No,
tax
not the
assessment,
tax
right?
assessment,
I mean, look, there's ways we can fix this. I mean, I got solutions, stuff like that, and I agree with you and a lot of things you said. But I think some of it has to be to where, I mean, there are some programs that need to get cut, plain and simple.
Sure.
You know, I mentioned one earlier. You know, I think that honestly, maybe those programs, if you're not disabled or in some way that, you know, you should be a limit to them. But I think you should have to come in a budget like everyone else has to, right?
Sure.
You live out in Indiana, right?
And we'll be there.
Okay.
I'm not coming back across the border.
But what's funny about Indiana, they have less programs, but they're always in budgets.
Always.
You know, they come in budgets.
Mm-hmm.
What a budget simply means is you got $100,000 come in and you spend less. In Illinois, we have $100,000 come in and we want to tax more. Or if you're in the city, we're going to tax on. We just make up stuff. We're going to tax you on your grocery bags.
Right.
This is
tax you on your sugar drinks.
I mean, seriously. I mean, that's probably healthier for you to do that,
Of
but
course,
but that's not their purpose
that's not
behind
the
it.
purpose behind it,
Right.
right?
So, you know, I think that, man, this is just a sore button for me. Like I always debate about it, say, hey, will I retire in Illinois? I don't know the answer to that. Probably not. Now my wife said we got a family. Because I mean, like I don't want to pay. You work for someone that's worked all their life, and just giving money to the state. You know, to me is ridiculous. And I know some of my people that are in politics and state, they're like, I'm not saying this, but if you want people to come back, cut. Stay in budget and stop charging people to stay in this wonderful state. It is a nice state.
It is very
Very
beautiful.
nice.
You know,
Beautiful.
There's no skyline like Chicago.
Right.
There's no
You guys
place
don't have
like
one in
home.
Indiana, okay?
We really don't. I mean, and I've traveled. I've been to 18 different countries. I've seen different places in the U.S.
I'm learning something new about you every day.
Well,
That's
I
good.
used to work in international education for 15 years as well.
Okay.
UIC, oh my God. All right. But yeah, the thing is, yeah, there's no place like Chicago. But with everything that's taking place, they're gonna honestly scare a number of the residents away.
What did he say? That's this government's way of attacking because they're already getting people moving because of violence. Yeah, I mean, that's a different subject, Billy, in that you're probably right about that. And you have to be 65 for that too, right? We talk about for the senior exemption.
For the senior exemption, you
Yes.
have to be 65 or older to get the senior
Yeah.
exemption. Yes.
100%. And I'm going to give you a solution for that. I want to talk a little bit about ideas, and I thought about this from different products that would take a really good advantage. But before we do that, I want to just, Crystal, thank God for you being able to tell your client to walk away from that deal. That was a choice you made. You lost money on that.
And did. Several thousands.
Right. I mean, not only that part, but you drove them around, you found them a house, and sure, they're going to buy something else. Sure. But at the end of the day, you did what was best for your client. That says a lot about who you are as a character and as a person, but your character shows up right there. We got to be educating our clients, guys, about these taxes. And there is a formula to do that. Chris, I don't know if you want to share some things, whether you want to give them a reason to call you. But sure. I think from the standpoint of being able to kind of properly prepare. And again, maybe I over-exhaled myself. And that's probably not the right word for that. I'm a math person. I always tell you that I'll misspell everything. What did you say? That's just wrong. ARP is 50. Yeah, Ramon. So yeah, you're right. But look, they said the retirement age now is what, 67?
Yeah, they moved it up.
Yeah, exactly. So we won't get those benefits that we need to. But I also feel like you got to find something to do. You just can't call it quits at 62. Like, there's different roles. Like, I think I would always want to coach, have, grow our team out even more, but maybe not be in the day-to-day activities eventually. So I think I got another 20 good years of me doing this, and then just more coaching from that point on.
Okay.
But you got to find something that you really enjoy doing. So do you want to talk about this taxing a little bit more? I got a couple things I want to talk about, but I want us to make sure that we really dive into this, because I teased it, and we got about 20 minutes left on the show, but I think it's important that we really dive into this and we answer the question. What's up, Horace Hardy? Appreciate you, brother. Look, we got two different things. Yeah, yours
I can't even
is.
see the people.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. We would love to answer your questions.
Yeah.
Can't read them right now. We'll do a better job next time. Make sure I'm logged in. Yep.
Yes.
So
you wanted me to talk about the taxes?
Yeah, talk about the tax a little bit more.
So, sure. So honestly, when you get your tax bill, there is a small portion at the bottom that gives you the ability to calculate your taxes. Now, of course, most people won't know how to do this because you need more than just those numbers and that
I
formula.
thought
at
you
the
were going to say
bottom.
people don't like math.
Well, they may not. I mean, that has also been, a statement. Most people don't like math. So,
Yeah.
but for me, I've actually come to find myself being more of a numbers person.
Mhm.
And so, of course, we're going to talk about numbers. If you work
Love
with
math.
me,
Mhm.
if you work with me, we're going to talk about numbers because we need to make sure you can afford what you're getting into. Make sure the numbers are going to work. So the way that it works, if you go to your tax bill at the bottom, typically the second installment, you'll be able to see that there are some numbers located and it'll give you your assessed value and they'll go through and show you the full calculation and you'll see your tax. So what they do, they take your assessed value, which is typically 10% of your fair market value. So if the home is worth $250,000, then they will assess $25,000 of your property. And so from there, they'll take that number and they'll multiply it by something called a state equalizer number.
Mhm.
So the state equalizer, of course, will then give you your total assessed value that they're going to tax. And then from there, based on whichever region you're going to purchase in or town, village, if you're going to do Lansing, because that's where the house was, that's 22.29% that you need to multiply. I actually did one for my client today. They were purchasing in Lamont, Illinois. Well, the tax rate in Lamont is right at about 8.9%. So clearly not as much
Right.
as 22.29%. So once you calculate that, that'll give you your total tax amount. And that will give you that bottom number.
Love that. And we'll do the math on that. But I think this is really cool that you're sharing this information and helping your clients out. That's amazing information. Hey, Sadan, how you doing? So look, I'm going to talk about a couple solutions for the things that we can go after to help people in this current market. So for time's sake, I'm only going to mention a little thing about the reverse for a few minutes. We'll come back to that. We'll teach on that. But I also want to talk about things that we got for some of the things that's going on in the current market. So just a quick announcement with the market. You had, the Fed announced that they may not cut rates right away, right? So you might be looking at something that's later on down the year because they say inflation is not low enough. We don't know exactly. Well, we do realize rates will come down eventually, but some of the conventional products, the rates went up about 0.3% last couple, say, week or so. What that means is there's benefits to what we can do to help you, So we have a program that will allow you to buy down the rate. So by 1%. Normally we can actually, the sellers to pay for that, and they still can use that for something else. But we can do, as a lender, we can do 1% below market rate. So what that means is, let's say if you're doing a conventional loan rates at 7% or 6.875, we can get you 5.875 the first year. Or if it's 7.125, we can get you 6.125 the first year, with the idea that you can refinance by the time the rates come down. So that's something to look at. There's other grant programs in there, but just being able to go into it with an affordable rate. Here's what's going to happen, guys. Once rates come down, and once they actually get into whether it's the low 6s or the 5s or whatever, you're going to have the same thing that happened in 2021. The floodgates go back. From a realtor, you can talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. From a lender, you can talk about it now too. If all of a sudden you see rates in the 5s, the multiple offer thing is going to go to the roof.
Well, we're already experiencing it.
Right. And the rates aren't even that low.
They aren't even down there yet.
Right. But you're going to, I think to some degree, if they lower rates enough, then you might get the sellers to come out there that, okay, I'm sitting on 3%, I'm sitting at 2.5%. It might make sense, excuse me, to go to like a 5% interest rate, right? Because, they want to sell their house, they want to tap into that equity, they're going to move. Some of them are not going to do it, but some of them will, because they need to move. And you always have people that are getting a divorce, unfortunately. Yes. Death happens, right?
That's right. Estate
sales. So there's different things that open up the market that we're dealing with. So I want you to think about that solution, a buy down, lend a buy down. Let Crystal and I help you with that, because now she can help you because you're now what, a loan officer?
That I am.
Yeah, she works on my team. We got some team here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
so that's something we can do. Let me answer some of these questions over here. Man, you got a lot of them. Yeah, 65. Do you think the influx of immigrants? I mean, possible. I mean, he talks about, do you think the influx of immigrants coming to the U.S. is going to change? It depends, right? It depends on if we have to pay for it. I hate to say it like that, but, it's never just that they do things out of the kindness of their heart. They always make us split the bill. Sorry for saying it like that, but that's what they do. So here, let's see. So I want to talk about the seniors for a second. Do you provide services outside of Illinois? Yes, I'm licensed in 5 other states, and I can keep counting. We can add on. So Arizona, Florida, Georgia. What am I forgetting about?
Illinois and Indiana.
Illinois and Indiana. I always forget Illinois last and I've been here once, right?
Sure.
Everybody should know that. But we're going to add some more states on. You know, we get the wonderful vacation states. We'll probably get Texas going soon too. just because there seems to be a flight there. But they got high taxes too. So and watch where you're going. But you know, we got a couple of deals going in Florida right now too. So yeah, absolutely. So from a senior standpoint, where I was trying to get at, a lot of people don't know, and you may or may not know, but there's a product that allows you to, one, either buy another house or tap into your current house and give yourself some flexibility so you never have another mortgage payment. Now, reverse mortgages used to have a nasty reputation, right? Because you had some lenders take advantage of people, unfortunately, or they wasn't explained right. You have to go through counseling to use this product. But it's a product that can be used to help seniors. I'll give you a couple examples. Number one, if I've got a senior, unfortunately, one of the spouses passed away, and they're used to a certain income, and yet they're not getting their spouse's income, then they're in a tighter situation.
Right.
Here's the thing, guys. I always say this, and you hear me use the scripture, man, don't work, don't eat. You don't work all your life to suffer. And you actually should be enjoying your life while you're working. So to me, if just in case you didn't plan right, if you bought a home, you're able to maybe tap into your equity, give you a little bit of money over time, which you never have to pay back. There's no lender recourse. You know, the only time you pay is if you turn around and you move out of that property. Okay, more than 6 months. But you can technically stay in that house and live comfortably and still maybe get some cash out from that and never have to pay it back. Now, you're technically paying it back with a reverse. That's why it's called a reverse. But as long as you live in that property, as long as you live, you don't have to pay. So there's different things. I can have our reverse guy come on here and talk more in details. It's a nice product to think about using. Now, you got to be at least 62. The younger you are, the less you can take. So if you're in your 70s, your 80s, better for you. If you're 65, 66, you better think that you have at least 60, 70% equity. And you may not get that much money because they expect you to live to your 100, right? The life expectancy is longer now. So there's a situation where you can use the reverse mortgage to get into, to live your life comfortably. Another example, and I used this a couple of years back, I had a husband and wife team that wanted to build their dream home. And they only made about, and I'm going off memory, 60 grand a year. They wanted to buy a $400,000 or $500,000 house. They brought it to my attention. And I was like, why can't we do a reverse purchase? And I said, okay, hold on, let me see if we do that. And we're top 5 in the nation with our company here. So for reverses, top 10 for mortgages. So what we were able to do is have them build their dream home. They put a lot of money down. They put like 50, 60% down, something like that, because they were young. And they never have a mortgage payment in that property. So they were able to design their house, and as long as they live there. Now, from a standpoint of like, man, you're going to the property, losing equity. I'm hurting my kids' inheritance. You can have the inheritance set up a different way. So the way I look at it, you can have your life insurance set up. You got other things set up. You can have savings, investments. But this is a tool that you can use where you're comfortable and you're able to live where you want to live, right? You can still buy your dream home and not be a millionaire. That's another way of doing it, right? So I'm not saying it's all right, but I'm saying it gives you another perspective on how to plan. And again, tax-free money. Uncle Sam charges us too much money. So whatever vehicles we can use to lower our taxable income. I don't care if you make $50,000 a year. I don't care if you make $1 million a year. It's too much money. Okay, plain and simple. It's just too much. You make $1 billion, charge them. Seriously, you know, it's just too much money, and it's ridiculous on the things that, you know, we all have to go through. We all went to school. We all worked hard. We want to establish a nice life for ourselves. So this is just another vehicle you can use with taxes going up, and you can use that to offset and pay those taxes. Now, you never have a mortgage payment, but you got to pay your taxes and insurance. So that's just another way of doing that in cash flow. So let's say you get $2 grand a month for Social Security, your husband, or you're supposed to get another $1,500 from pension. So now you get $3,500 a month, and your house is paid off, but you got taxes that are $16,000. Well, we do the math real quick, $1,300, $1,400 a month, and you make $3,500, they're eating to half your income almost. Right?
That's right.
Don't buy your retirement car. Ooh, that's a bad negative. Okay, yes, to some degree, but you got to live too. So why not take a reverse, have it offset, cover your taxes, help you come make better financial decisions, and then you put a budget together. It's just another way. You talk to a financial planner, but it's another vehicle for you to use to put yourself in a better situation. What's your thoughts on that? Just kind of what I explained.
So
you didn't know I was gonna drop that on you, did you?
I did not know you were gonna drop that on me.
I like to be spontaneous. I don't like to plan everything. I like raw, real. Okay. But you're prepared.
Oh, I'd hope so. So
Hey, Scott and Cindy, how you doing? Love you.
so my thoughts on that, where you essentially started, it has had a negative connotation
Mhm.
to it. And so people, of course, are not thinking in that wise.
Mhm.
More times than not, I've seen seniors want to utilize that, of course, to use money
Right.
for whatever they need to use it for. I actually knew a lady who got one and she utilized it to do stuff in her kitchen, in her home, do
Update the
renovations,
property,
update
yeah.
the property. Unfortunately, she, passed away before she was able to sell it or do anything else. But then her children needed to sell that property and they had to deal with that reverse mortgage. And of course, there was nothing else set up to help deal with the offset of that. So,
Right.
so even you saying needing to plan, definitely talk to, your estate planners, your attorneys, get your trust, your wills, whatever in place so that you know what that looks like moving forward so that the grunt of that situation does not fall on the children.
So there is no lender recourse.
I love it.
What that means basically that if, unfortunately they pass away, we're gonna die, right, eventually. And they give you 6 months. You can extend it another 6 months to sell it. Let's just say we're in a bad market, which I don't think we are. Real quick, 2008 and 2024 is different.
Completely different.
Completely different. There was overabundance of inventory in 2008. We have very low inventory, supply and demand, right? So the property values aren't coming down. Now that we've hit that, let's say for some reason you owe 250 and the house is worth 100. You can choose to buy the property at 90% of the appraisal, 95% of the appraisal, right? Maybe a percent or two. But you're not paying $250,000 per property, so you can choose that. I doubt that seriously happens, right? Or you can turn around and sell the property. So you're not responsible as a child. You're not responsible for taking that.
Was there ever lender recourse in times past with this type of product?
I don't believe so. I mean, I can't answer that 100%, but they have set it up to where like you can access less. Now, like I just said, at 62, you might as well think 70% down, 65, 70% down to buy, because you can buy a reverse house too and get you. And we don't look at your income. We look more so at the property and make sure you can afford. Not income. We look at make sure you can afford the taxes.
Sure.
And insurance, and you have good cash flow. But we don't care that because you're never going to have a mortgage payment.
That's awesome.
Okay, so that gives you another vehicle to use to be able to buy your dream home too.
Cool.
So I like the product a lot. It just needs to be explained. Again, there's been lenders that fast talk and don't go through that process with people to help put them in the right situation.
Right.
We're not doing that.
That's right.
We're gonna take it. I don't care if we have to meet 10 times, right? Take your time.
That's right.
We'll love on you. Make sure you go through counseling. You have to go through counseling. You should fully understand what you're doing. For anything you do, you should understand.
That's right.
Then you can put you in a better plan. Yeah. So, man, Krista, I love the fact what you did. I just keep coming back to that. And just say, again, people don't realize how much money you lost on it. And I lost, you got it, but you think about it from a lending standpoint, you're an originator, you didn't make money. From a real estate standpoint, you took people out driving around and you said, these taxes are too high. That shows your character. I think I texted you that when I was on the plane ride home, and I was like, I love your character, man. Look, I can teach you the mortgage business. I cannot teach character. I just can't. So I'm glad that you're on our team. I think you're going to do amazing things.
Glad to be part of the team. Thank you for having me.
Man, I love you, Scott, man. I know what you're going through. Right in my heart. I love you, man. But no, it's same thing, Billy. But, at the end of the day, I think it's so important that you actually come together and put a plan together to make sure it makes sense for you when you buy a home.
Yeah.
We talked about the buy down program. That's another way to getting you in a home and being comfortable. This is a time for you not to sit on the fence. If you sit on the fence right now, man, when rates come down, you're going to be fighting over houses even more, right?
Right.
You're 1 year later and not building equity. Even with higher tax, at least you get to write off the property taxes.
That's right. You do.
Look, check it out. Let's just say you one of those say, I'm just going to rent. The landlord's going to get the bill and he's going to pay more because he don't have a homeowner's exemption. And guess who he's going to foot that bill to? The consumer.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
So you should still own a home. It just, look, you got to make strategies in place to make sure it benefits you completely and you understand everything that's coming your way.
Yes, I actually have buyer consultations with my clients. So before we even go out and start looking, we have to sit down and talk about what this is going to look like. Is this a realistic goal? Which essentially it can be, but we just have to come up with a game plan and the strategy to get there. And yes, I'm a big proponent of educating people. I definitely need to make sure that you understand what you're getting into, because a lot of times I feel as though some lenders and even realtors, they just drag the client along. Okay, fill this out, do this, do that. And the consumer has no idea, the client has no clue as to what they really did. And I tell people all the time at the closing table, say, you just signed your life away. And you don't even know what you're getting into.
Right.
So it's important that
and what benefits you.
That's right.
Right. What your rates are. I got a question on there. Boy, you lucky I only got 5 minutes. I love you, frankly. So you really want me to answer that question? Here's the question, y'all. Will the rates change? Bring it. Will the rates change for the better with Trump in the office or Biden staying in office? Listen, here's my opinion. I'm just going to give it to you. Listen, Trump is like one of those uncles you have that you don't want him to say certain things. He's not politically correct.
Right.
I'm going to tell you this. I talk to Democrats, talk to Republicans, talk to independents. They all feel like they were in a better financial situation when he was in office.
And was.
Right. So at the end of the day, there's things he does that I don't agree with.
Right.
But I feel that financially in a state in our country, we would probably be in a better situation if Trump was in office.
I mean, well, let's also look at the records. And I'm not big into politics.
I'm not either. And I'm not even a Trump fan.
Neither am I. But if we really look at the records, unemployment rates were lower, gas prices were lower,
401ks was all-time high.
Exactly. Interest rates were lower. I mean, let's just look at, the facts. And from my vantage point, I've always seen Trump running the country as he did some of his previous businesses. Yeah. He is a successful businessman. He knows how to run a business. And so, of course, those principles that he had, that understanding and how he went about, of course, he utilized it to run this country. And we were in a better financial position than we currently are with Biden. So
I don't believe we would be funding as many wars that we're helping out right now if we were in that case either. I don't. I just don't. And so, I know that's hard for some people to say. People say, hey, man, how do you say that as a black man? I say that as a Christian black man. Look, it's not about vote for this person. I just say I look at it from a standpoint financially, regardless if you don't like this person, right? Regardless they say things you shouldn't say. Everybody has said things that they won't say. Okay? That they shouldn't say, right? But from a standpoint of how the market did and how, now, again, socially, there were some things he shouldn't have said.
Right.
Some of the Proud Boy support and all that stuff, right. Hanging the vice president, he didn't keep his mouth shut and not say things like that. I didn't agree with that, right? Yeah. But he also did a lot for us, too. I mean, they don't talk about that. We don't have to come back every 2 years or 4 years or whatever and get more college money.
Right.
Nobody talks about that.
That's right.
But, I think there's bad and good in everyone. I don't like some of the things he does, but I think that overall he's better for the country. I do. I don't even think Joe is there 100%. And I hate saying that. I think he's just being a puppet, and that's
there are a lot of questions, surrounding his cognitive ability and, capabilities when it comes to running the country. And, just as simple as fumbling his words or falling up a flight of steps, there's a lot of questions that kind of goes along with whether or not he's really feasibly able to.
I got 2 minutes, right? So if they're able to print money the way they print, it's like print and just send it out, right?
Right.
Like, why wouldn't we deal with some of the things that are in the country with
homelessness? Yes.
Poverty. I mean,
yes,
it's
you're right.
Why would we deal with that? It's different. I agree with that. With Trump, he has a different president to look at the Biden, but the black, he without sin. You're right. He without sin the first time. I agree.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm not saying people go too far to say he's for Jesus. Listen, Jesus says, love your neighbor as yourself.
That's
right. So at the end of the day, he doesn't tell you to call women fat and all these things he said, and things that he say, but his politics and how he sets things, his negotiations are, I believe, and I'm going to say this, and I'll probably get hit for this, 1,000 times better than what Biden has brought up. 1,000 times, and I might even want to say 1,000,000 times. It just, to me, I think rates are not decided on a president, but I don't think so. Here, really quick, give me like 3 minutes. So, I like using this example, and I took this one from Barry Habib from Riviera's Highway. If you get into a hot shower, it's burning hot. What does the average person do?
Of course, turn it down.
Turn it down, right? So what our crazy Chairman Powell did, he popped that bad boy. This way it's cold, hot that way, right? Cold, right? Just like he raised rates 11 times in like a 15-month period. That's unprecedented. It's unconstitutional. He was trying to lower inflation, and first of all, the rate shouldn't have been that low in the first place. But that's a whole different conversation.
Right.
But the fact that he was allowed to do that, I'm just going to go on a limb and say he wouldn't have did that with Trump in office. He would have been too scared to do it. Right. So because Trump in real estate. So what he did, he basically made homes unaffordable for people because he was trying to get inflation down. Again, there's ways of doing that. I do believe rates should have went up, but you didn't have to push it over like that. So the average person, when they get in the shower, they scoot it over. But what he allowed, and I'm not blaming Biden all for this, that what their side allowed is you hurt the economy. Regardless if you give, again, he gave out a lot of money. The great philosopher in the barbershop talked about that. You know what I'm saying? I can say this, for my white friends, y'all can get this. If you gave every black person $50,000, Cadillac can be out of business. Remember that saying?
I've heard it.
That's inflation. That's what he did for all those people. That he gave them all this money, and you thought it was going to be better, but it actually made it was kind of social. And as I say socialism, it made cars. Look at cars. Used cars went up in value.
They did.
That's crazy.
It is.
It's a depreciating asset. But again, by him doing that, and it prolonged the correction in the market. And then what he did was, okay, Chairman Powell, do whatever you want. He raised the rates. Okay, and I'm not saying rates shouldn't have got raised. They shouldn't have been that low. But the way it was handled, I'm blaming this administration on that. So that was a long answer, Franklin. I don't know if you like that answer. Some people probably think I'm a little crazy, but I think I'm right. I think I'm right. Stop voting for people just because they come to your church on Sunday once a year or twice a year. They might make you feel good, seriously, because they got their own hidden agendas. They really don't care about. If they care about you, teach a person to fish. Don't give them the fish. And I'll leave that with you. Teach them to fish. I'd rather you teach me. Wisdom is more valuable than money, silver and gold. Give me the wisdom so I can learn to be successful.
Well, if you read Proverbs, it'll tell you, seek me.
Yeah.
And with me comes riches and glory and honor and all of those things that you're looking for. So yeah, it's important to get wisdom because that's going to teach you how to do everything else and apply that to the rest of your life. You want to come on the show with me again? I will. You're an employee now, so you got a choice. If I say let's go, you got to go. Yes, sir. Should you buy now or wait? Buy now, Latrice. Listen, regardless who's in office, ultimately God is in control. But buying a home or possessing a land, I think it's a good thing, right? You can always refinance when rates get better. Owning property, you still get the write-off interest property taxes. Even if something goes up 3% rather than 5% or 7%, it's still a property that you own and can grow. Yes, own the land. I always tell my clients, if you can afford it, do it. Because, of course, the one thing that God is not making anymore is land. No. And so, of course, you want your possession and your piece of that. You want to be able to get what you can. Because, of course, with it being so minuscule and just kind of going away in terms of what you can own, if you are being priced out of the market, you're going to have an issue with finding something. If you, again, the interest rates keep going up, if the prices keep going up, and this is another thing that we've seen as well. Well, when the interest rates went down, and general economics is okay, prices, of course, are going to come down if interest rates go up, and vice versa. If interest rates come down, then prices are going to go up. Well, what we have seen here in this market is when the interest rates came down, prices went up, but when the interest rates came up, prices remained where they were. Right. Those prices did not come down because there's not enough. Right. And so that's where, a good economist is going to say, okay, instead of giving all these people this money, how about I do some incentives for builders to push more property? How do I keep incentives to keep the rates not as high, bring them down a little bit because my sellers won't move. You got a whole group of people, and we don't have time, that you have homeowners that are in, that want to maybe downsize, but they say it costs me more to downsize because the rates are higher and the property value is going up. Why would I go sell my $1 million house to go into a $500,000 house and my rate's going to be 7% when I'm paying 2% right now? Right. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense. So they stay put, and then Grandpa gets on that little cane walking up the stairs. I'm having fun. This has been fun. I enjoyed it. We went over. Mom, thank you for letting us go over. Don't get too mad at us. Guys, if you enjoyed the show, reach out to us. Let us know how to best serve you. We'll be back again. You want to come back next week? I can come back next week
Cool.
if need be.
Let's come back next week. We'll talk more. I think you need to talk about the tax stuff more. Come back and just let us love on you and help you. And if you found this to be valuable, make sure you share with your friends. Listen, we are independents. Don't be going around saying, "Oh, these crazy." No. What we told you was facts, and people don't like the truth. The truth set you free.
That's right.
The truth said we gave you facts. Okay, you want to keep eating on that same fish, little penny loafers that they gave you, or you want to grow. And part of this is growing to get to that next level. Growing to get to that next level is facing the facts and saying, "Hey, they want me to pay more in taxes. They want me to depend on their systems." No, I don't want to be dependent. I want to depend on God's system. That's it.
That's it.
But that's it. That's a little bit of wisdom. I love you guys. Come back next week. I have Crystal try to drag her out here next week from 4 to 5. Be blessed.
Take care.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, "Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills."
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ. WVTC Allsip Chicago.